Yo, what's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and today we're going over the latest news in Arizona as the Arizona Coyotes are continuing their rebuild. Today we're going to take a look at the latest news on the team. There's a lot going on with the Jacob Chychrun situation. There's a lot of talk about what kind of trades they could make going into the deadline, so we're going to be going over all of that today. So there's a couple of news here to report on with the latest really on the Oilers situation. Now, there's a couple of guys pending UFAs, Lawson Crouse and Phil Kessel. That's the first one we'll get into here. I know you guys want the Chychrun stuff. We are going to get there. So this is headlines from David Pagnotta. The Arizona Coyotes are one of the teams willing to help teams looking to move some money, some salary, if they are incentivized. Unlikely to retain salary in a three-way deal, only have room to retain one more, which is probably Kessel. But to take on a full contract, the Coyotes will be one of the teams to watch for. So basically that's saying, they're going to stand out more from a team that maybe isn't going to want to do that. So let's say you want Joe Pavelski or Alexander Radulov or Phil Kessel. You're at the deadline. You're looking for a top six winger. You don't have the cap space. Well, the Coyotes are going to be able to retain 50% of that salary, where the Dallas Stars may not want to do that. So that is kind of something you have to look at. That's where the Coyotes can kind of separate themselves in that situation. So that is something to keep an eye on, because that could increase the value of guys like Kessel and Lawson Crouse. In order to retain that salary, they'd actually be helping themselves out, maybe acquiring more assets, right? And you look, they already, I've done videos, how many first-round picks, second-round picks, third-round picks they have in 2022 and 2023. It is ridiculous. The Coyotes are absolutely stacked. And this is the latest from Elliot Friedman on Lawson Crouse. The Coyotes forward Lawson Crouse is another player of interest in the trade market. I really think Lawson Crouse could be a really good fit, really, on a lot of organizations. A penalty-killing guy that's tough to play against in the playoffs. I could, for some reason, see a team like the Tampa Bay Lightning going after Lawson Crouse. Kind of that Pat Maroon kind of player. I think Lawson Crouse could be a nice addition there. A guy in front of the net. I could see the St. Louis Blues being another team like Tampa that could be in the mix for a guy like him. I don't know if the Coyotes would do this, but even a trade with the Ducks up the road, adding a guy like Lawson Crouse. They've already got Nick Delorier. So I wonder where Lawson Crouse is a true fit. The Rangers could be another team, add more grit to the Rangers, right? So there's definitely teams that will be in on Lawson Crouse, and he'll probably be fairly cheap. He won't be super expensive. Phil Kessel, on the other hand, probably going to be easier to acquire as well. Again, he's got $6 million on that salary, but the Coyotes said they're willing to retain half. So if a team has $3 million in cap space, the Coyotes could definitely get a pretty good deal there for Phil Kessel. A couple teams I think would absolutely be interested in Kessel. I think the Rangers are a team to definitely keep an eye on there with Phil Kessel. The Anaheim Ducks, maybe to add some depth scoring. I could see them in the mix there. Even the Calgary Flames. I think the Calgary Flames could also be in that mix. And depending on how things end up in Vancouver or Edmonton, I would keep an eye on those two, really all three of those Western Canadian teams for Phil Kessel. That could be a discussion that comes across for Phil Kessel down the line. And that's where we get to the bigger one here, and that is the big, the white elephant in the room, Jacob Chychrun. Jacob Chychrun is a huge piece of this Coyotes team, and this was the guy they were supposed to build the organization around. It sounds like the plan has changed a little bit in that front. So this is from Darren Drager. So this is the latest on Jacob Chychrun. The Coyotes' asking price for Jacob Chychrun is enormous and has scared some suitors away. Now, just about a month or two ago, we heard that the price tag wasn't scaring some teams away. Apparently, that is no longer the case. The price tag, maybe from what the offers he was getting, there was some mutual, okay, we could maybe make that work. And because he was getting better offers, maybe some teams, he came back to some teams and said, listen, this team's offering this and this and this. So, well, I'm getting offers for this, this, and this. So if you got to give me this, and they're like, no, never mind, hang up the phone. That's the end of the conversation. So that is definitely something to watch for here. But Jacob Chychrun is the name that everybody's kind of it's like sharks swirling around, trying to figure out what's going to happen here with Chychrun. He's got a really, really good contract. I think he's getting paid $3.75 or $4 million per season till the summer of 2026. So he has an extraordinarily good contract. That is a lot of the value for Chychrun, as well as overall he's a very good defenseman in general. So Jacob Chychrun, for the price, I was kind of figuring out what the price could be for a guy like Jacob Chychrun. And I was thinking multiple first-round picks probably and high-end prospects. Probably something similar to the Seth Jones deal. That's probably what you're looking at here for Chychrun, and probably more than that. And that's kind of a scary thought because, again, you have the term on him. Seth Jones, you were kind of signing for that. It was a sign-and trade kind of thing. But that is something that you have to consider how cheap he is. The value is going to be even more than that value. So you're looking at a major haul of price there. And some teams that I think would be interested, again, we're going back up to Western Alberta here, or Western Canada for the most part. So I can include Vancouver here. Vancouver, I don't know what the plan is for the for the Canucks. But we know that Jim Rutherford isn't against making big moves. So could the Canucks go after a guy like Chychrun? They need some depth defense. Chychrun could definitely do that. And they do have the prospects and they do have the depth. They could make that deal. And that's kind of a scary thought, I think, for Canucks fans. The Calgary Flames, again, they've been kind of looking for that big hit recently over the past couple years. They were big players for Jack Eichel for a while. Probably still a little bit scorned with how that whole situation fell through. The Winnipeg Jets still looking to add some defensemen. Really, now they've got some nice depth defensemen. Who could play with a guy like Neil Pionk? I think a guy like Chychrun would be a great fit there. The Los Angeles Kings depleted with depth, to help out guys like Drew Doughty. I think adding a guy like Jacob Chychrun would be huge for them. And the Anaheim Ducks, again, a team like the Ducks, they have the prospects. I don't know if they would give up. They definitely aren't giving up Trevor Zegras. Would they give up Jamie Drysdale, though, in order to bring in a guy like Chychrun? Because, again, they're doing really well right now. Drysdale might take a little longer to develop. Maybe they do that. And the Boston Bruins, I think they still see a window where they can win over the next couple years. You add a guy like Jacob Chychrun to that blue line, he instantly replaces some guys they have lost over the past couple of seasons and guys that haven't developed into top four defensemen. They could bring in a guy like Jacob Chychrun on a cheaper contract, and that would really benefit a team like the Bruins. A guy that fits under the cap well for some term, but again, it's going to cost some prospects. I don't know how keen the Bruins are on giving up probably a guy like John Beecher, Jack Studnicka. Those guys would probably have to be in the deal. Potentially a goalie like Jeremy Swayman. So I don't know how keen the Bruins are on making that kind of investment in Chychrun. But again, if the Bruins are really sold on the guy, they may be willing to do that more so. Now, again, here's the other thing you have to remember. That $3.75 million cap hit, again, till 2026. So you have a couple of playoff runs with him at that super cheap contract. Cup contenders are going to be in the search for that. Man, imagine the Tampa Bay Lightning got Jacob Chychrun. That is a scary, scary thought. Imagine that, right? But again, if they're willing to retain salary, if they're willing to do some of that stuff, Tampa Bay could be a player in that, as crazy as that sounds. So keep an eye on that, because I think that's something that we're not really talking about. But Chychrun's going to be, he could go to a lot of teams. The Islanders could be in that mix. The Rangers could be in that mix. They've got the prospects if they want to win now. You might have to trade a Keandre Miller or a Nils Lundqvist, but you're getting Jacob freaking Chychrun. And that could be, kind of the big move that the Rangers make this year, and that would kind of set them up moving forward. So, just food for thought. So that is it for today's video. If you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL and more videos just like this one, You guys know what to do. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and an even bigger subscribe down below. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time.